And we're about to do something that this house probably had not expected before. So, whoever that was, stop it. All the mezzos, y'all know who you are. The sopranos, the tenors, and the baritones. Mariah, you are not a mezzo, but good luck. And there we go. Well, y'all, I know somebody wants to sing. There we go. All right.
I just want to take a moment and welcome you all. Welcome again, the Black Administrators of Opera who were here last night. And also, we have some very special guests, friends and family of Moses Hogan. I wish that we could have honored him while he was still here, but this has been a long time coming, and we're glad to do it today. Thank you so very much for joining us for this celebration of his great genius. So, thank you. I'm handing it over to you, Tara.
All right. Welcome. Y'all know I never write anything down, so this could be fantastic or a disaster, but we're going to call it beautiful. My name is Dr. Tara Angelique Monica Melvin. If I were any more New Orleans, I would probably, well, y'all don't want to hear my real last name. All right, baby. Her pronouns, but I answer to everything, including hate most of the time. Just don't snap at me because I am very uptown New Orleans. I was going on Martin Luther King. What can I say about tonight? There are so many things. This is a surreal experience. I just remember coming to interview for this job, and people saying, "We have Moses Hogan's piano," and like it didn't register. Like I kind of was like, oh, okay. Like, why would you? Why? What? What do you mean? And then they're like, no, you have Moses Hogan's piano. And I was like, you ain't telling everybody? Right. This man this son of New Orleans, who we call Moses like we view him, who is Maestro, who was a genius, who was so New Orleans. He's such a New Orleanian that I just heard this in conversation where somebody was like, well, that's just what we do. That's just what we do. We do extraordinary things regularly and say, well, that's just what we do, and that's just how we do it. And sometimes we need to stop. Most times we need to stop and honor that. So thank y'all for being here on this weekend, in this place that would have never, I don't think Mamie Sebold, who is on that painting back there, would ever imagine that this happened. I think she would enjoy it. I'm hoping she would enjoy it. Thank y'all for being here so we can do something in our small way to honor him. And this is actually part one of what we plan to honor Maestro, because he deserves all of the flowers. And he deserves every good thing that he can do in his name. And as Clare said, we would have liked to do this while he was here. But, he's still here anyway. So, without me talking too much, because y'all, I don't like long programs. My attention span is so short. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Claudesia DeVay Johnson, who is our fearless leader in Black Administrators of Opera, who has kept all of us in this job at one point or another over the past few years. And then we'll introduce ourselves.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I come to you from the land of the Caddo, Wichita, and Comanche Sovereign Nations, also known as Dallas, Texas. But I call any artistic space home because it is a space where we don't need to ask permission to speak. It is a space where we don't need to ask permission to express. The only thing we have to navigate is knowing that we belong. And not by permission, once again, knowing that we innately belong. And I appreciate that we are able, as Black Administrators of Opera, to come together. We represent nations, we represent many different states, many different companies in this particular nation as well, all here gathering for what it means for us to celebrate our Blackness unapologetically. We decided to come here to New Orleans because we understood the importance of opera for this beautiful city, for this historic city, and that opera cannot exist without Blackness in this city, in this nation. It's something we're not taught, but it is definitely a story we are reclaiming. It is a beauty that we are owning, and it is a confidence through which we will walk and continue to grow. I am grateful again that we get to experience this beautiful dedication, recital, and ceremony. I remember Dr. Charles was like, yeah, we have this piano. You got his what? And I said, y'all ain't telling nobody? And I graduated from Clare University, so y'all know we was singing Maestro, but you know, So, it is an honor to be a part of what this means, for this to be a part of what this means, not just for New Orleans, yes, but what it means for music, what it means for celebration of artists, what it means to be in a space where you don't have to ask permission to belong, in a space where ancestors created this home and would not have been able to enjoy in this way. But here we are. And here we will stay. And here we are going. In all the ways. So we thank you, the Black administrators of opera in this space. We thank you for having us here. Thank you for being in community with us. Thank you for continuing to pass, to carry this legacy, to create greater legacies.
It will evolve into church at some point, y'all know this. But I want to, I'm not going to make y'all talk. Y'all are welcome to talk at some point. Like, but we have Miss Karen, Miss Wilhelmina, who are Maestro sisters. And I'm being very New Orleans right now. We like Miss first name. I don't know the last name is like Miss. We have Miss Julia, and we have Mr. Ernest, who also sang with Maestro. Yes. And of course, the incomparable Ivan Griffin. And he will be out very soon. And then we also have Taylor J. White, who is an up-and-coming soprano, and we have the wonderful J.T. Hassel as well. This program tonight, I'm sorry, y'all who are not in this experience, but y'all gonna have the Black experience today. Because this program tonight, I was thinking, what do we do? How do we honor someone that we don't know who could have still been here, who was from the recent past? What is Blackness? What does that encompass? Well, it's everything. It's joy, it's sorrow, it's pain. It is the heights of pleasure, but also the depths of despair. And that is what Maestro wrote about. So, with the help of our lovely artists, what we are endeavoring to do is to honor the legacy of someone who literally, when you Google his name, there are 20 people associated with the American spiritual, which is considered the only actual classical art form to come out of the United States. Everyone on this list is 100 years older than him, and he is number 3. So how do we honor that? We are going to talk about the past. We are going to talk about pain and pleasure and all of those things. But we are also, through Miss Taylor White, going to talk about the future, because the song cycle that she will be singing is actually something that was written specifically for her with sacred texts. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Ivan Griffin and J.T. Haskell.
You are so gracious. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tara asked me to speak a little bit about Moses, because I may not look like it, but I knew Moses personally. I knew Moses personally. I met Moses. It kind of is a little sketchy, but the memory is when I was a student at Southern. I'd heard of Moses Hogan when I was growing up. We grew up in Slidell on the North Shore. And there you go, Slidell. And I'd heard of Moses. Moses was a student at Oberlin. at the time. And I remember in the, I don't know, Times-Picayune, maybe it was, whatever the New Orleans paper was at the time, this article came out about this Wunderkind, Moses Hogan. And I knew his uncle, Dr. Edwin Hogan,
Yes.
having grown up in the Baptist Association, and our church was a member of the First District Association here in New Orleans. So I knew of Dr. Hogan, and having done conventions and association choirs and what have you, with him summoning all of these choirs, right? So I was like, I wonder if that's related, if he's related to Dr. Hogan. Well, of course he was, you know. So time passes, and I was a student. I matriculated at Southern University. Some time passed, and Moses and I connected. We met, and I think it was there at Southern. He came to do the Touche de Beauce piano competition concert recital. And so we met. I was getting ready to graduate in about a semester. And we met, and he talked, and he said to me that he was forming this choir called the New World Ensemble. And I told him, I said, well, I'll be graduating in December. He says, well, won't you come? Come. I want you to be a part of the choir. I said, okay, sure. So my time with Moses, when I graduated, I sang with the choir for 8 months, because it was between undergrad and graduate school. So I had that time to sing with Moses and really get to know him personally. And we used to hang out. Moses was funny with his smooth self. He was so smooth. His sisters are here, and they about her. And his buddy right here. So, he was so smooth, such a smooth talker. But I will say this, we really had good times after rehearsals. You know, I might drop him off at home or whatever, or sometimes I just come over and just hang out with Moses. We just talk. Moses had a way. You could be sitting there talking to him about something, sitting in his parlor, and he'd just get up and go to the piano. He'd go to the piano and he would just start to play. Because Moses was a church boy, y'all.
Yes.
Moses was all up in and through the church. So he would start to play hymns and what have you. Oh, Ivan, do you know this? So there was one particular hymn that he would play that I loved, but I didn't know all the words to it. And whenever I hear this hymn, so he would say, well, here's the hymnal. He would pull out the hymnal, and I would open the hymnal, and he would play, and I would sing it. And so I know some wondered why I wanted this song on here, but this song reminds me of Moses and my relationship with Moses, and it was very sweet memories. So I hope I can make it through. I asked the Lord.
I realized that we didn't even read the dedications. I wanted to do that. And also I wanted to, if Miss Julia, Mr. Ernest, or I know y'all like that. But before I do read this dedication, who in this room, who in this house personally knew Maestro? Look around, y'all. Y'all are blessed. Thank you so much for being here. I only hope that we are doing him justice. I know we can't because he was brilliant and wonderful and amazing in all of these things. I'm getting up. So, Moses Hogan, born 1957, passed 2003. A New Orleans-born composer, pianist, conductor, and founder of the Moses Hogan Chorale, single-handedly revitalized the performance of American Negro spirituals with his dynamic arrangements for both choral ensembles and solo performers. He is considered one of the world's greatest arrangers of the American Negro spiritual. Let that sink in, that we are in the room now with people who, Miss Julia, I'll let you tell the story about how he came to you with Elijah Rock and you were like, absolutely not. Absolutely, who's singing that? And what did he tell you?
Well, he just said you need to learn your part.
And she said, he said it so nicely.
He said you need to learn your part.
And what did you tell him?
And I said, this is piano music for the voice. Nobody can sing this.
And
so, because I was, a trained singer and musician and so forth. And you want me to get it?
So they can see your lovely face.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for having us. And thank you all for listening just a little bit. I am so touched by what I just heard. It is a rare thing that you hear beautiful music like this, and in this setting, and commemorating someone. So my story of Moses is this. I had given up music. I had gone to Indiana University. I had children. Didn't want anything to do with choir anymore, no more anything. Somebody said, go audition. And I did. And I went to audition. Ernest had his piece prepared, but I had nothing. And I'm sitting on the floor with my daughters. And Moses says, well, what are you going to sing? And I said, nothing. He says, oh yes. And so he pulls out America the Beautiful, and he starts in one key. And then he goes up to the next key. And the next key, he says, I hear you can sing. And he kept going and going and going until, I went up to Q flat, and he looks at the two girls on the floor and he says, so what are you going to do with them during rehearsal? So I was hooked. He passed out the music, Elijah Rock. And I just looked at it and I said, what is this? Because he would give the manuscript. It was hot off the press. And he would give you that manuscript and he said, okay, we're going to read. And I said, and I put it down for 2-3 days. And then I picked it up at my piano and I started my part. And I said, this is amazing. This is genius. And I just was hooked. And it was like a piano score for vocalists. And Moses would call on the phone and he'd say, what are you doing? Just he was a regular guy. Or he would say, what do you think of this? And I said to him, Moses, nobody can sing this. And he said, oh yeah, you need to learn that part. You need to practice. And I said, okay. And so that's how I got into the chorale and hooked on the chorale and working with Moses and his genius and just realizing how very blessed we were to be with him. And so.
All right. Thank you. I know Mademoiselle White is waiting in the wings, and we will, without further ado, we will bring her on, but Ivan, one more time. All right. Who work for opera companies.
Yes, hire me. Okay, thank you. Yes, hire me. Shameless plug. I received it. Thank you.
We are in our formality. I would like to now bring out Miss Taylor J. White, who will be singing the song cycle that was written specifically for her. And I can only imagine that I know that Maestro had to have something to do with it because none of us matriculate through the halls of anything without talking about Moses Hogan. So, Taylor White.
I don't know if you all have had an opportunity to read the program, but because this is a very new cycle, it was composed, I believe, spring of 21, so it's very young. But if you have a chance, there are notes from the composer, Dr. Maria Thompson-Corley, as well as myself. This entire cycle was sort of born out of a dark place. We were in the depths of the pandemic at the time, and I found myself going through different scriptures that were just a source of comfort. And when I finally got to grad school and the opportunity to have a piece of mission came forward, I got a list of potential composers. I went and listened to Dr. Corley's music, and I knew, based on her choral and vocal arrangements and spirituals, that she was the one that I needed to work with. I picked out my favorite scriptures, one of which is actually tattooed on me right now. And you will, in my great-grandmother's handwriting, and you will get to hear these familiar scriptures. You will hear different styles of music. She listened to me sing both classically and contemporary music, and so she implemented all of that into these 5 pieces. So I pray they are as much of a blessing to you all as they have been to me. And without further ado, to Meditate in His Temple by Dr. Maria Thompson.
We want to see you again. We are very spoiled in New Orleans because this is just around. This is everywhere. I don't know if there's no water. I don't know what's going on. But walk down the street and we are very blessed people because art is everywhere. And these lovely people, Ivan Taylor and JT,
He's already in.
have been so gracious in sharing themselves with us. Y'all are not off the hook. Some of y'all know what's about to happen. Y'all know what weekend it is. I am dressed this way for a particular reason. We are honoring Maestro as an ancestor. We are honoring all of the ancestors. And we're about to do something that this house probably had not expected before you. So, whoever that was, stop it. You are welcome to sit. You are welcome to stand. You are welcome to clap. You are welcome to shout. But we will be singing all of the verses apparently. Lift every voice and sing tonight. For them and for us. So, JT, without further ado, and y'all, this is an opera crowd. All the mezzos, y'all know who you are. The sopranos, the tenors, and the baritones. Mariah, you are not a mezzo, but good luck.